Hey guys, welcome back to our first ever hybrid battle report. If you guys are fans of Space Hulk or Dungeon Saga, this game is definitely worth a look-see. Yeah, it's been out of production for quite some time since Rackham Studios went out of business, but you are still able to find this game on eBay at a fairly good price, depending of where you're looking. There are some that are pretty high up there, but the game is, once you've gotten down all the rules, it is actually a fantastic game. It is a little hard on the rules because of the translations that they did, but once you get it all down, it is a lot of fun to play. So today we're going to be showing you guys how to play this fantastic game. We have miniatures all painted up, ready to go, and we have two forces that are ready to play. So on one side we're going to have these the Scorpion, or the Alchemists of Dirts. We'll have a Apparition. We're going to have three hybrids, which are these fellas right here with their little bows, and then we're just going to have one Pest of Flesh, which is this little guy right here. And on the other side we'll have the Aklanian Griffin, the Lodge of Hod. Now forgive me if I mispronounce that, as I am trying my best to say these names. So we're gonna have a Seneschal, which is this guy right here. He's gonna have his blade up and his little pistol there, and then we'll have three Purifiers all ready to go. These are the three right here. This will be the map that we're gonna be playing on, with doors already set in place, little passageways. The doors will be opening as characters start going through the areas to explore, and then we'll replace them with these type of tiles. Now the game does have different types of cards, which are event cards, equipment cards, and as well as faction specific cards such as auras and mutations. So for this game we have the event cards, which the blue is going to be represented to the Griffin. They have the aura cards, which I don't think I use these because I'm not using a Venerable Ambrosius, or however you say that. But I'm not using that character, and I think he's the one that gives out the auras. But just let me know in the comments below if I am supposed to use these. I'm not too sure if I am or not. But you know what? I'll just go ahead and use them since the Dirts are using their mutations, and I know for sure they'll have their mutations, which are labeled on the cards themselves, and then they also have as well their special events that they draw. Then we also have our action point cards. Now these cards, you can be used in two different ways. You can either use their point value that is actually listed on the card, or you can use whatever the text say on the very bottom. You just read whatever it's telling you to do. And this is where a lot of the confusion comes from, because some of them, it's not really well interpreted how they write it on here. So you just kind of have to, have to read it and do the best you can for it. But in all honesty, not all the cards are like that. Some are, some aren't, so it's not that big of a deal. And then we have the actual event cards that do happen throughout the whole game, and these are drawn, I believe, at the end of every phase. And then we have our character sheets. We have the Apparition, which is right here, and just so we can give you kind of like an anatomy of a card. Now, when you're playing this game, you don't look at this as a die to roll. You look at that as a skill level. And anytime you activate your characters, you'll be having to announce what type of action you'll be doing. So for instance, you have four different ones. You'll have the firing action, moving action, defensive combat or offensive combat action, and then there's also the defensive combat action. Now, depending on the number listed on your card, for example, this is the offensive action, that is your shooting, that is your defensive action, and then this is your movement action. And these are the levels that you can choose from. So for example, let's say offensive, he's going to have a 7. So from this list, when he activates, this is firing, moving, When you activate him, you get to choose one of these abilities. So he's a 7, so that means he can choose any one of these. So he can do a basic strike, which you just read whatever it tells you to do. You could do a Nova Strike, enables your wound level of the warrior, determining the SO of the attack. Then you also have Skilled Strike, Expert Strike, Master Strike, and so forth and so forth. So it just depends on what kind of attack that you're wanting to do at the time, depending on what area you're in, or if you're within melee combat of your enemy. Then you also have your abilities, which are right here on the bottom. This number right here, that designates your wounds, also your die roll that you have to meet or exceed. In this game, you want to roll low. So if you're trying to do a strike action and you're trying to strike your enemy, you would have to roll a 5 or less in order to strike. On a 1, you do a critical success. On a 10, it's a critical failure. And this game does use D10s instead of D6s. And then on the bottom, you also have other abilities that you can do. You've got your movement, which he can move up to 10 squares. His class, and this is what you use to write up an army. So he's a rank 3. So let's say you're playing up to 6 points. That's already 3 points of your army that you would have already used up. He has his equipment, which is fused weapons. If you're in an offensive stance, you have +3 to the die roll. You have aptitudes, these are special ability. He's a Titan. He has Frenzy 1, which we'll explain in the game what that actually does. And then he also has Brutus Strength 2, which is another ability that you'll be using throughout the game, depending on what you're using them for. So the mission we are playing is Return to Glasinhar, and this tells you the objectives, which is pretty much whoever has the last man standing. You pretty much have to take out the other enemy's army, basically. This is the points that you'll be able to use. The Griffin, he can use up to 5 points of class, or ranking, I should say. And this is how many models that you could have. You can't exceed that many models. You can't exceed the points. Scorpions can have up to 6 points, but they could only have up to 5 models in their group. There's also traps, which are depicted by these question marks, which are also points of interest. So these, if you discover them, can give you extra abilities, or of course one of them will be a trap because of the scenario telling us to put a trap in there. There's also special rules. Well, in this one, there is no special rules for this game. And then, of course, it shows you the whole map on how to set up your whole dungeon, basically. Okay, so since I am not using a character with the aura ability, I cannot use the aura card. So we won't be using these for this game. So how do we move in the game? So it is a little different. It kind of feels kind of BattleTech-y, I guess, if you want to say. Like, for example, if we are here, you get one free pivot move. So if you move like this, you're going to get, the first one is free. After that, if you do an additional one, it's going to be an additional +1. So like, let's say he's facing this way and we want to move, we're going to be turning for free. And there's going to be 1, and it's going to cost me 1 to turn because I already did my free pivot. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's how basically you're moving, kind of like BattleTech. Also, you can move diagonally. However, if it's in an angle like here where there's a wall, it's going to cost you 2. So this would cost you 2, free, 3. And if you're passing through a doorway or a hallway, such as these little tiles, it's going to cost you 2 as well. So, for example, I was here, it would cost me 2, free, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I could even go 9. Now, the only time it's going to cost you double to go through a doorway is if you move diagonally into it. So if I'm here and I'm moving diagonally, it's going to cost me 2. Or if there is a model here and a model here, it's going to cost me 2 to go diagonally into that area because there's models around me. Also, it costs you 2 to move sideways. So for every time you move sideways, it'll cost you 2 points of movement. So 2, 4. And how I'm saying 2 points of movement is you're gonna have 7. He moves 7 squares, so that means it's gonna cost me up to 2 points of that. So if I'm moving 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that would be all my movement points there. So think of your movement as 1 action point for every time you're about to move your character. If you want to turn up to your 90, or let's just say you want to turn back, it's going to cost you a point. So it would cost me 1 point to turn around. And facing is important in this game because there is back strikes in which you get +1 to your natural number, which this is what your natural number is, which is a 3. That's what you're pretty much needing to roll in the game. So anytime you're getting a back strike, you're going to get +1 to your natural number roll. So you kind of want to make sure you're facing the correct angle or correct way before you start moving. And of course it's gonna cost you every time you're gonna try and turn, kind of like BattleTech. To open doors, it costs you one of your points, one of your movement points in order to open it. You also cannot move unless you choose the movement action. So just keep that in mind on those 4 action abilities. If you're moving, unless there's a specific action in that moving area, you won't be able to shoot. So for example, I think these guys have up to 4, or yeah, he has up to 4. So your first is a basic movement, which is going to give you +2. That's going to add it to your total movement. There's Novice move, may move through an enemy occupied square unless it is in a defensive combat mode or has the Titan aptitude. You do not. Skilled move, if the warrior has moved at least 1 square before coming into base contact with an enemy, the enemy cannot move until the end of the round unless it has a Titanic. Place a skilled move token by the target. And then, of course, up to 4. Expert move, as above, and the enemy cannot move or use the moving mode and suffers a -2 in all rolls. So each one is going to be an ability that either somehow helps you to stop the enemy from moving, or it's going to give you a bonus so that you can move a little faster. So you just have to really pick and choose. It's very strategic on how the ability that you want to use is used during the stance of what's going on in the battlefield. So it is something you really need to pay attention to. So that's what makes the game a lot more strategic than most games. So we also have our tokens. We have these as our wound counters. And we'll just be tracking them on here because each one of these is going to have 3 wounds for the purifiers and then 4 for the Sinashal. In this game, you also need to secretly put your activation counters on your characters. Now, of course, since it's just me, I'm going to know who's going to activate who. But that's why you have numbered activation tokens, because secretly you're supposed to put them in whatever activation you want to activate them in. And of course, your opponent doesn't know who's going to activate first, who's going to activate second. So it kind of adds more to the strategy of the game. So for this one, I'll just go ahead and put them like so. We'll put, actually, I think I'm supposed to roll for initiative first. So we'll do that in a second, and then we'll start putting these counters down. But the idea is pretty much just to kind of have your opponent always guessing who's going to activate first because of the initiative order. Now, also, we have our event cards. Now, these, what you're going to do is you're going to draw 2. And you're not going to look at these because you draw 1 the first time you encounter your enemy. And then you're going to draw your second one the first time one of either you or your opponents has lost one of your characters. And that's when you draw the second one. Same thing for the Scorpion. They're going to go ahead and draw 2, or Alchemist of Dirts, I should say. And then we'll set that aside. And then these 2 are their events. And then they're going to draw 3 mutations, but you only get to pick 2. And the other one just goes back in the deck. So now that we've gotten all our mutation cards and our event cards, now we're going to get our action point cards. So you draw 4 cards. Well, this will be for the Griffin. 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to put these on this side. and then we will draw 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can of course look at your cards, and if you don't like what you have, you can mulligan. But when you mulligan, you only draw 3 cards. So for example, here we got 0, 1, 1, and 1. So that's not a very good draw for the Griffin, unfortunately. Then for the Scorpion, we're gonna have 1, 2, and a 1. So I would say the Scorpion are gonna keep their hand. The Griffin are gonna go ahead and discard there. So we're gonna draw 3 new ones. 1, 2, 3, and now they are stuck with these cards. So they got a 2, a 2, and a 0. So a much better hand, but now these are gone. So now, how do these work? So these can be used for pretty much, and if you're using the points on the cards, well, let's not use that one. But if you're using the points on the cards, these points can be added to anything on your character, either to make a skill roll or to add to your level so that you can pick a better ability in that particular action. Or you can use the bottom of it as well. So for example, this one, the Purifier wouldn't survive the mission. Your adversary must randomly discard 2 of his action cards. If he only has 1, it is removed from his hand. So this is pretty handy. You can either use it for this to discard cards, or you can use it for the point value. So it just kind of depends on the cards themselves. And like I said, they're not all bad. A lot of them, you can pretty much understand what they say. Some of them, they are a little iffy. You're just like, wait, what? So you kind of have to just give it a double glance. This card forces your adversary to show you his action cards. So with this, you can kind of see and pinpoint what he actually has going for him. Of course, this would be all hush hush because you don't know what your opponent is going to have. Of course, I already know because I've already seen them, and I'm the only one playing. So again, a lot more strategy to the game, and it adds a lot more flavor to the game as well compared to like Space Hulk, Dungeon Saga, and whatnot. Okay, so now that we've gotten our action cards, these are only drawn when we enter for events, and that's what these are. These are actual event tokens, and we would draw those whenever we reveal these. So that's going to be pretty much it for that. So now we're just going to set up. Now, being the Griffin, you have to choose either this area here, these 4 tiles, or they can start at the edge here, entering into the battle zone. The Scorpion player is going to have his aberration start in this big area location, and his hybrids are going to start in these tubes. So for example, we'll say this hybrid is going to start here. The aberration will start in these 4 squares since he's got the biggest base. This aberration is going to start here, and he will start here. I'm going to put him there in that little base there. And then he's going to start here. And then the little Pest of Flesh is going to start right here, facing like that, like so. All right, so we have the Griffin all laid out in this area here, about to start entering the Scorpion's den. And then we have all the Scorpions right over here, and we also have to put these mutation cards down on some of these hybrids because they are the only ones that have mutation 1. So I'm going to put this card here. This is the biomechanical shell, which pretty much turns him into a statue and he can't be damaged or injured. We will put it on him, and I get to choose when to activate it. You don't have, you can put it on him, but you don't have to activate it right away. Of course, you're going to be putting these face down since you don't want your opponent to know what they have. And then the adrenaline injections, which I believe gives them a better attack value, but the moment you choose defense combat, you lose it. So I'm going to give it on this gentleman right over here. So the guys on the edges are going to have the mutations for this turn. All right, just a couple of quick things before I begin. It was a correction on the mutations. You don't have to set them up on the characters right away. You can wait and until the game progresses, and you can put them on any characters, or you can just do what I did and just choose one character, and that's the guy that's going to have that mutation. Of course, once you've done that, you can't move it to another character with mutations. So for example, once I've already put that on him, I can't put it on this guy because I've already nominated him to have that mutation. So once he dies, the mutation goes away. Also, as far as these points, when you do use them, if you're using it for one of the characters, not only does it modify the actual ability, it'll actually also modify the number as well. So adding the 2 means that he will choose up to level 5 on his fighting stance, and as well as he will need a 5 or less on his natural die roll. So that's really cool about these cards. And of course, you have to nominate. You're going to use it before you make any type of die roll. Also, on a quick note on the events, if one player activates an event, that same player cannot activate a second event. So you actually have to wait until your opponent activates one of the events before you can go and activate another one. So who is going to take the first turn? Black is going to be the Scorpion of Dirts, or Alchemist of Dirts, and the Griffin will be white. Now you can use your action point cards to modify these die rolls as well, just to give you a heads up. I'm not going to do that right now as it is way too early in the game. So let's go ahead and roll and see who's going to take the first activation. So Scorpion automatically failed the rolls, and the Griffin actually passed. So Griffin are going to get to choose if they want to activate first, and technically what we're going to do is we're going to have the Scorpion players activate first because we are being outnumbered by 1. So here we go. Scorpion, turn 1. So Scorpions are moving first, and who is going to activate first? Number 1 is the Apparition. So he has a, I want to say it's a 5. No, it's a shooting. Yep, 5. So all we're going to do is we're just going to do a basic move. So it's going to give me +2 to my move. He is a Titan, so that means he can just bum rush and destroy these doors without any penalties. On top of that, he can't move diagonal, but he can do a quarter turn without any penalties as long as it's only 1. So he's just going to bum rush his doors. So he's going to go 1. So he will go 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's going to turn 5, 6, 7. He's going to turn 8, 9, 10. What does he move? He moves 10, but it's +2. So actually he can move 2 more. 10. So he's just going to destroy this, and he's going to be at a 12 right there. So these are gone. I'm going to replace them with these because they're destroyed. And let me move him out of the way. And that's just going to go there. He's going to be blocking, but that's all right because he's just going to try and get out there. But he is done, so now it's going to go on to the Griffin. Griffin activation, and it is the Seneschal that is going to go and activate. Seneschal. So he's going to activate, and he's going to do the same thing. He can do up to I think he's up here. He can do up to 4. So we're still just going to go with the +2 movement. So this is the Seneschal right here. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 3. Well, he has to point that way because that gun is just in the way. Open the door for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, he moves 8. So he'd be +2. It would have cost him 10 because he was facing that way. He would have had to turn this way. So we'll go ahead and leave him there. Door is open, but it's not destroyed. These that he just ran over, we can no longer close them because they've been destroyed because he just bomb rushed right through everything. So he is going to there, and he is done. So my bad, I did that a little wrong here. So he could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4 to open the door, 5, 6, 7. Actually, no, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So he's going to be right there. The little Pest of Flesh is just going to do a basic move as well, which is going to do the 1. So it's going to be +2 to move. So he's going to be able to move 12. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then he does his free little movement pivot. So bear with me, guys. This is the first playthrough I'm doing. So I am doing the doors wrong. It's only a movement of 1 to go through the door. Unless you're moving diagonal, then it's going to cost you 2. So we're going to activate, or actually I should just flip this over. And I should probably be numbering these guys. But that's a 2. That's Purifier. This is him. So he's just going to move, do a basic move. So he's going to move, he has a movement of 7. So that means it's going to be a 9. So he's going 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, and then 7 to open the door, and then 8, he's just going to move up there, and 9 to turn. So that means it's going to be a little pathway here. And so far, all these doors can be reclosed, since they are not bum rushing like some certain brute. So going on to the next Purifier, which is number 3. We'll say it's this guy right here that has his hand facing some weird way, but he's just going to do a basic move. So it's going to be +2. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I think they move, they got an extra +2 for the movement, and I think they have a movement of 7. Yeah, 7 squares. So he is right there, right next to his buddy, and he is done. So now let's go to, the Pest of Flesh was number 2. So now we go to number 3, which is going to be one of the hybrids. And you can move through your own characters as long as you don't end up on top and they're not in base contact with the enemy. So he's just going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9. He's just going to move like so. So now the final Purifier is going to be this fella right here. It's going to move his +2, which is the first option. So he's going to be moving 9. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? We'll go this way. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. He'll be in this doorway right here. And he is done. So now it's just going to be all Scorpion. So let's go ahead and activate him. That's number 4. We'll say number 4 is the guy with the other card. So he is just going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He'll be right behind this guy here. And then hybrid number 3, well actually I should say 1 and 2 are the ones that had the mutations. And then number 3 is going to be this guy. So I'm just going to kind of move these cards up so that way you can see who's who. So it's number 1 hybrid, number 2 hybrid, number 3 is going to be this guy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, actually, I guess he'll go there, and he's just, for his 9th one, he's going to go ahead and spend his movement. And let's see what this is, since he came in base contact with it. So this is, oh no, it's an explosion. So let's read what the trap is and see what happens. All right, so in order to land on these events, you actually have to land on top of it. So he would have been here, and you have the choice. You can either activate it or not activate it. If you activate it, and if you don't flip this, then you draw an event card. If you activate it, then you're gonna have to, we have to take a test, which is a natural roll test. These guys have a natural roll of a 3. Since it is an explosion, we'll have to put that back underneath here, because now anybody that lands on it has to always take this test. Now I have to do a natural roll, and it's, you add a +3 to it, so that means I need to roll a 6 or less on a die, or else he's gonna take a wound. So here we go. And he fails it like an idiot. So that means he is wounded, and that blast is still there. So hybrid number 3 has taken 1 point of damage. And that's how we do traps. All right, so that is gonna be pretty much the end of the round. That is everybody activated. So now we're gonna roll for initiative, and nobody died. So if somebody would have died, you draw an additional action card, and that is the only way to get these, is when one of your characters ends up dying. All right, so let's see who's going to take the first turn. We're not playing any cards to modify this die roll, and it looks like it's going to be the Griffin once again. So they will choose to go ahead and have the Alchemists of Dirts activate first. All right, so starting with the Alchemists of Dirts. So we are going to activate first will be the Pest of Flesh. He is number 1, so he is just going to go ahead and do a normal move. So he's just going to ruin his 12. Oh, and when you have characters that have a 0 rank, they cannot activate events or do special missions. So they are pretty much obsolete. All right, so here we go. So they're gonna move 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, I don't know if I want to get in the range of that guy. So he's just gonna stay right there to chill out. All right. Without further delay, let's get this game on the road here. So we're gonna activate Purifier number 2. That is number 1, and that is this fella right here. So he's just gonna do I want to do a combat? You know what? I'm gonna do a shoot. So he moves 7. So that means that he moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then he can turn for free. Yeah, we'll do that. So he's gonna land on here, and he's gonna activate it. And he's facing like so. And he can still shoot. But let's go ahead and activate this, and that's gonna be an event. And that's what they look like. They have a little exclamation. So let's draw this, and let's see what it does. So we drew Secret Passageway. So that means we can get one of these little small passages, and we can put it anywhere on the field that is connected. So for example, here we can put one there if we wanted to, we could put one there if we wanted to, or we can put one even over here if we wanted to, that's connected. We're just going to save it though. It says we can play it at any time, so we're just going to set it aside. And now we're going to shoot. So now he is a level 4, so that means I have to choose a level 4 what I want to shoot at. So I have line of sight to that hybrid over there if I wanted to shoot him, or I can shoot the Pest of Flesh. So let's see, firing. So we have firing. So he can do a basic firing, so it's a normal range attack. Cannot fire in base to base target. He can fire 360 anywhere around. Or he can choose a skilled firing. No enemy can be in line of sight, plus a numbered skilled firing token by the warrior. He loses the mode if he moves. Adapts another LM, is wounded. As movement in base contact. Oh, it's kind of like line of sight. I mean, Overwatch. Or he can do expert firing. May target an enemy model behind one other warrior, but still in potential line of sight. Enemy with the cannot thus be targeted. Yeah, so I don't know if I want to do skilled firing. I might just go ahead and do, you know what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna add 2 points to this. And if I do, I can do heroic. Fire twice. Action cards can only be associated with a single shot. All right. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and spend a 2. So we're going to add that to his firing. So that means I could do a 6. And only the first shot is going to be able to expand on the 2. So that means I'll have a 5 for my roll. So only one of them. So it means the second shot will be at a 3 or less. The first shot will be at a 5 or less. So let's go ahead and do that. However, we do have an ability on this guy. I'm at +2 whenever I do the firing because of my concentrated pistols. So that means that I'm at a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because I'm in the firing stance. All right, so let's shoot twice. And we're gonna go ahead and aim for this guy here. And I don't think there's a range on it, so I should be able to shoot. Shooting into the wounded hybrid. So for the first shot, I'm gonna need a 3, 4, 5 because of the 2, and then 6, 7 because of the +2 because of the shooting stance. So I got him with a 4, so it's gonna be a point of damage there. And oh, I forgot. Actually, the opponent can actually use their cards to use it as a hindrance. So I could choose to use one of these to make it a -1. But even with a roll of a 4, he still would have hit. So no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to save it. And I'm just going to go ahead and shoot the second time. So this one is going to be on a 5 or less because of the stance. I'm no longer getting the 2 because it was only applied to the first shot. So I got another hit. So I got 2 hits. That's going to be 2 wounds going on that hybrid. And that actually is going to take him out. All right, so there's going to be a few things happening here. So since we had first contact and the combat has been resolved, we're going to be drawing our events, our army event cards. So here is the adjusted shot. That's going to be for the Griffin. And then for the Dirts, the Clone's Fury. So these are going to be the abilities they're going to have now. All right, so the adjusted shot is basically an aimed shot. So it's a one-time use, and it's only used when we're going to shoot. So we have to nominate that we're going to use the card, and then I get +3 to the natural roll of the die. And once we do that, then it's discarded. So that's going to be theirs. And then the Outcomets of Dirts received the Clone's Fury. So once the character that this is, let's see, can only be used when one of your figurines, so the rank is superior or equal to 1 or less, has lost his last wound, which it has. That guy lost his last wound, so that means everybody else on that tile is going to receive a +1 modifier for offensive combat. So it's pretty much in hand-to-hand, you're going to get +1 just for this round. And I believe, furthermore, every affected clone is given a chance to roll the dice before I think that's supposed to be a reroll. They get a reroll as long as they don't roll a critical failure on the die. All right. So I don't know how useful that's going to be because it's only on that tile. Well, I think it affects everybody on that tile. So that means is for this round, these guys will have +1 to their natural die roll if they go into offensive, which is hand-to-hand. Okay, so now, after you've encountered and resolved the attack, once we've lost a model, we draw the other event because the Dirts just lost their guy. So here is the Griffin, which is the consecrated armor. This card can be played at the beginning of the activation phase. Select a befriended Griffin fighter who then benefits from the consecrated armor. The wearer ignores the first wound, and that would reduce his natural value to 0. The attack has no effect, even if it should have caused several wounds. Then discard the consecrated armor card. So it's a kind of like a saving grace. So if you're down to your last wound, it'll block everything with that armor, right? So now let's take a look at what the alchemists got. They got pestilent secretions. Pestilent secretions. This card is played when a figurine equal to or superior in value to 1 loses its last wound level. All enemies located in the adjacent squares, 8 of the figure's base. So that's pretty much going to be all the bases around them. That's the 8. Only occupies 1 square, 10 if it occupies 2 squares, and 2 if it occupies 4. Are affected with the pestilent secretion germ. This has no effect on warriors located behind a wall or behind closed doors. At the beginning of each round, roll a d10 for each contaminated enemy. See below. 1 through 5, the warrior's immune system neutralizes the germ temporarily and there are no effects. On a 6 through 10, however, the warrior experiences a violent coughing fit and his sight is impaired. He suffers a -1 modifier to all his natural rolls for the end of the round. These effects are canceled as soon as the card is removed from the game. All right, so I'm guessing this thing stays in play, and at the beginning of the round, you're always going to have to roll. I guess until you're out of that vicinity. I guess, or it might just be yeah, it's at the beginning of each round. So yeah, as long as you're not in his vicinity. All right, so that stays in play. So that means that this is going to be played automatically. One of your figurines located in the zone, the figure died before. All the friends located in the zone, so that's going to be the tile. All right, so that's going to activate right away. So these guys are going to be at +1. He is dead, so he goes down. So we will take off. Well, I guess I'll just fill that up just to show that he is incapacitated. And actually, he is done. So now it's going to go on to the Dirt's player. All right, so since it is the Alchemists of Dirt's turn, they will draw a card since they lost one of their guys. So they get a 1. And does it do anything special? Remove this card from the game after use. This doesn't have anything special on it. All right. So then, I think it's just the zeros that actually have an ability. Okay, so we know he's not going to be able to bum rush and charge in because he's a little too far. So I'm just going to set him up to shoot. So he's just going to go ahead and do, I think we're going to do a firing. He is a skill level of 4, so I can actually spend 1 card if I wanted to. So we're going to go ahead and activate him. I'm going to spend a point to add an additional point to his mastery as well as his natural die. So that means he's going to be hitting on 4s or less, and he's going to be able to pick from a 5 and below mastery. He doesn't have anything on shooting, unfortunately. So we're not going to actually, what number? That was number 1. So he's got the adrenaline injectors. So he can do, oh, he can do that. And as soon as he chooses defenses, this thing is discarded. So we're going to go ahead and activate this, the adrenaline injector. So that means he's going to be an additional +1 modifiers to his chosen action, and then +3 to his natural rolls. So that means now he is actually going to be a 7, and he can choose up to 6. So he can technically shoot twice if he wanted to, because firing mastery, he has a 4 already, and he's adding another one. So he's actually to a 5 as opposed to a 6. So he's going to shoot twice, but he's only going to be able to use the action card with only one single shot. So only the first one's going to hit at a good level. So he's going to go ahead and move instead of moving to 7. So he's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, he's going to move to here to 6. So he's going to move right behind that door, and he's going to shoot twice here. So it's going to be a frontal shot. So that means on his first shot, he's going to need a 3, 4, 5, actually 3, 6, because this is a +3 because of the injectors. Yeah, +3 to his natural roll. So he needs 7 or less on his first roll, and then he's going to need a 6 or less for his second roll. So his first roll, he failed it with a 9. Okay, second roll he needs a 6, and that one he hit. So he's gonna take a point of damage. So now it's gonna go to, oh man, I already forgot who was activating next. Hey, it was this guy. Purifier number 3, that's gonna be this gentleman right here. So he's just gonna go ahead and move up. So he's gonna do his, he's gonna do a base, so he's gonna be +2. So he's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to open the door, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's gonna go right there. Oops, I'm knocking down doors. That should have been right there. And then I'm gonna need a little passageway because he just opened this door. And he is facing, where's his facing? He's facing that way. Well, since we know he's dead, we're gonna go ahead and flip that. He was number 2, so he was activating second, so that means, oh, I was supposed to flip these. So 3 was hybrid 1, so that is the correct one I activated. So hybrid 2 is gonna be this guy. So he is the next one to activate. So this guy is dead, so I'm gonna have to take off one of these activation markers. But he's activating next, and he is just gonna go ahead and move as well. So he will go 1. Actually, he's gonna do firing mode as well, and we're gonna go ahead and spend another card, another point, to make him a level 5 firing, and also a natural 4 for his die roll. So this is gonna be 2 free, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's going to be able to shoot from there. He's going to shoot right there straight ahead. So now he is going to do, since he can't shoot twice, he didn't have the points for it, he's just going to go ahead and do his master firing. So he's going to roll 2d10 and he can choose 1. So that means his his ability is a 3 +1 because of the card we played. So he needs 4s or less. We're going to roll 2 dice, and he's going to be able to choose the one that he wants to use. So we'll go ahead and go with the 2. If we would have got a 1, that would have been a critical hit. So that means it's another point of damage going into that that griffin. So now we have, I think it's this guy number 3. Yes, it is. The other purifier number 3 is going to be the gentleman that's just standing straight. So he's just going to do a basic move as well. So he will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to open the door. Oh, actually, there is no door. It's just a passageway. So it's 6, 7, 8, and 9. He's going to be ready to open that door in the next round. Well, now it's just a brute, and we all know he's going to activate next, and he's going to have to go through this trap. So, I don't think I have much of a choice because he really can't bypass it. So he will go, oh, actually I got to determine a stance. Okay, so it doesn't really say that it stays in play, so I'm just going to remove it. If I'm doing it wrong, just let me know in the comments below. But I'm going to go ahead and remove it since it has been activated. So now he's just going to go ahead and move twice. He really can't go through here, and he can't go through these single doors. So he's just going to move right behind these guys. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and he can turn for free, 5, 6, 7, and then he's going to end like that, 8, right behind these big boys right here. So here we go. It's going to be the Seneschal activating last, and he's going to try and do a firing as well. So we are going to go ahead and spend... Oh, do we want to do our aim shot already? No, I think we'll just do this. We'll do yeah, I'm sorry. It's the adjusted shot. So I'm going to be at a +3 to my natural roll. Play this card before, oh, okay, it's right before I fire. So let's go ahead and move. He's going to move it of 8. So we will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then turn for free. We could take a shot at this guy here. That's what we're going to do. So he's just going to end up here, like so. And before he fires, he's got a 5, so he's going to go ahead and do the double tap, which will allow him to go ahead and, because nobody else is wounded. Ah, man, I got to shoot that big guy, though. That guy is going to be a nightmare. He's got 5 wounds. All right, so, oh my gosh. Yeah. No, you know what? We're just going to take our chances. We're going to try and shoot this guy here. And we're going to go ahead and do the adjusted shot. So that means it's going to be at a +3 modifier for the natural roll. And it only applies to 1 single shot. All right. So we're going to roll 2 dice. And we're going to be able to choose the highest. And we need a... he's a 4, so it's +3, so I need 7s or less. 7s or less. And we're gonna pick the 2 because the 10's gonna miss. So we're gonna hit, so he's gonna take a damage. So that is the end of the round. So now we're just gonna go ahead and roll for, oh, and actually this goes away because that was the end of the turn. So that is one event gone for them. Okay, so let's see who's going to take this next turn. It's going to be pretty pivotal. Oh, and adjusted shot is gone as well because we used it already. Does anybody want to add anything? Oh boy, so we got 0 and 2, and the alchemists actually have 2 1s. They could adjust it by 1 if they wanted to. Yeah, why not? We're gonna adjust it by 1. Technically, you're supposed to put them face down and then you flip them over if you are gonna try and adjust it. And then you reveal it to kind of show like a grand reveal after you've rolled. And then you kind of steal away the initiative. But we're not gonna do that right now. So it's just, it'll be at -1 for the dirts. And it didn't help because the Griffin actually did get the 1, so it's a critical success because it goes down to a 2 because of the card they played. So that means, where is it? There it is. There's a 2, but the Griffins still get it. And hey, guess what? The Griffin are going to go ahead and take the first turn. Here we go. I'm going to start with the Seneschal first. He is number 1 to pull the ticket number. And we're going to go ahead into firing mode. And I forgot last turn, when he goes into firing mode, he does get some bonuses. He gets +1 in firing, and he gets +2 in offensive. So he is going to be a 6. So he is going to be a 4 and a 6. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and play the 2 card. So that's going to give him a 2 more to his base roll. So that means he is hitting on 6 or less, and he's going to go ahead and shoot twice, doing his firing. So he can fire twice. Action cards can only be attacked with 1 single shot. All right. So that means That means that he is going to go to a 6. He's going to go to a 4, 5, 6 because of the card, and then +1 because of the ability, his firing. All right, so first die roll, it's going to be a 6, so he's going to need a 7 for the first one. Oh, and he is going to shoot this guy here that's already wounded, try and take him down. He missed. Failed, and in the second shot, he felt both. Oh my gosh, that is not a good roll. That's not good at all. So that's the end of the Sinasho's turn, and it goes on to the Dirts. So my bad. The abilities on these cards, it only add to the natural roll. It doesn't add to their level. So he shouldn't have shot twice. He rolled a 10 though, so he missed either way. But future reference, yeah, this is just going to add to the natural roll, not the actual the action ability. Okay, so now it's going to go to the Dirts, and I believe we're going to do the Pestilence first, because he is just going to be a little ticking time bomb, and let's see how he works. He's just going to move up. So 1, 2 to there, and I do believe they do something exciting. Let's see here. So he's got sacrifice 1, velocity 1. So let's take a look and see what sacrifice 1 does. All right, so sacrifice, what it means is you have to be in base contact with the enemy, and you have to do a basic move. So that's exactly what we did. We did the +2 basic move. And anybody that he is in base contact, now you are in base contact with the enemy when you are flush against them, not corner to corner. So here he's going to do an automatic wound with no saves. Even if he was in defensive save, he wouldn't get one. So that means that the Pest of Flesh is destroyed, but he is on his last wound. So down goes this Purifier. He is out of the game. Now, because the Pest of Flesh sacrifice, that means that they cannot draw cards, and they wouldn't count for the event card being the first model to be eliminated, because they're puny and they're not worth anything. So that is the activation for the Scorpion. So now let's go back to the Griffin. So I do believe it was this guy, and he is dead. Yeah, he was 2, so I guess we just go up to 3. 3 is, oh, that's number 4. So 3 is going to be Purifier number 2, and I believe that is the gentleman that is right there by the door. So, oh, actually, before we activate, the Griffin says they lost a guy. They're going to get an action point, so they're going to get 1. This card allows you to reduce the value of your adversary's action card by 2 points. The result cannot be less than 0. Okay, pretty good. I can use it as a 1, or I can use it as that card. So now we get a choice. Do we want to move him, open the door, and shoot, or do we want to get into hand-to-hand, knowing that this big beast is right there? I think what we're going to do is we're going to go and activate, open, and we're going to get into attack. So we're going to go ahead and go into offensive mode. So his first action is he's going to go ahead and open this. So he opened the door and he went into offensive mode. So in offensive mode, he is looks like up to 3 and is mastery. So he can do either, if the first attack causes wounds, may make a second attack, no action point benefits or new cards, or he can do the second one, attack ignores 1 wound when calculating. That's if he's wounded, he's not wounded, or he can do a normal attack. So let's go ahead and try and do the third one. If the attack causes a wound, he can attack a second time. So because he is in the offensive, I believe they get bonuses. Let me see. He'll be at +1. So that means that he's going to need a 4 less to hit. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Here we go. So 4 less to hit. He missed. So that means since he didn't hit, he cannot use that other attack. Yeah, the attack causes a wound, he may make a second attack. So no dice, he is done. So I believe we were activating the wounded character. And yep, we sure were. That's number 2. So because he is wounded, we're going to subtract 1 from his natural die ability. So he's a 2, and his movement also goes down. So that means that he's only moving 6 now. So since he is on the side, he is just going to go ahead and he's going to go into offensive mode as well. So he's just going to turn like so, because we still want to get that +3. He still has the adrenaline injector, so he is at a +3 modifier for natural rolls, and he gets a +1 to his actions, his action die, or action ability. So that means he's a 5, and he is a 7 or less. So man, he's a beast. So because he's a 5, he is going to go ahead and, let's see, that's offensive, so he can get +2 to his SL, or he can roll 2d10 and pick one. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that the other guy, the purifier did. So if he gets an attack, he gets a hit, he's going to be able to strike again. But the second one will not benefit from that bonus, because it's at least I don't think it will. Yeah. Action point, a second attack, action point benefit, or new attack. So he doesn't get any of the bonuses from it. The first attack causes wounds, may make a second attack, no action point benefits or new cards. So I don't think the mutation would work on this case. If I'm doing it wrong, let me know in the comments below, but I'm going to go ahead and just do the first one as the mutation, the second one no bonus. So he needs a 7 or less for his first attack. And he got it, so he's going to wound him. So now his second one, he needs a 3 or less. He got a crit. A critical is going to do 2 damage, and actually he just slices that guy's head off. Down goes this purifier. Okay, so that was unfortunate. So now the Griffin are down 2 guys. So you only have 1 activation left. So we're going to activate this guy. So he is this purifier, and he's just going to go into firing stance, and he's going to take a shot right through that door, see if he can't take him down. So we're going to go ahead and play our card to give it a +1. So that means that he is now a 4 and a 5 for his shooting, and he gets +2 to his firing. So that means that he's going to be a 3, 4, 5, 6 to hit, 6 or less. So he is a 5 for firing. So he can roll 2 dice. He can target the guy behind him, or he can do the Overwatch. We're not going to do those. We're going to go ahead and roll the 2 dice and just pick the lowest. Hopefully we'll get a 1 out of there. He already has a wound on him, so he just needs 2. So come on, give me at least a 1. So he is needing 3, 4 because of the card, 5, 6 because of his mastery. Not his mastery, but his mastery. He's doing the shooting mastery +2. He doesn't get it, but he does get the 3, so he's going to do an additional point of damage. So now it goes back to the Griffin. The Scorpion. The Scorpion is going to be the other hybrid. So now he is just going to go ahead and he's going to go into an offensive stance as well. And he is actually going to bum rush this way. So he has a movement of 7. He is not wounded, so he doesn't have any modifiers there. So he will go 1, free, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he made it there, and he's going to go ahead and strike. He doesn't have the ability that the other character does, but he is going to go ahead and spend a 2 and see if he can't take this guy out. So since he's spending the 2, he's going to go to a 5 for his natural die roll, and he gets a 2 to his mastery. So he's going to go ahead and do up to 6 for his offensive. The Texas Seas inflicts 2 wounds, but perfect he takes 3 wounds. So we're going to try and do a heroic strike on this fight and see if we can't take him down. So we're going to be rolling 1 die. So he is at a +2. So that means he's a 5, but they get +2 for being an offensive stance. So that means that he is actually a 7. So he needs a 7 or better, 7 or less. to hit. And if he hits, he's going to do 2 wounds. Oh, so close to a critical. That would have taken his head right off as well. So 2 damage goes into that purifier. So the Griffin are done. The only one left is the big beast himself, and he is going to come bum rush this Seneschal. So he is going to go into an offensive stance. So he is moving his, I think he moves 10. So he is coming in. So he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can go right straight. Actually, no, he has to move sideways. 5, 6, because he cannot move diagonal. So he will be here like so. That's going to put him flush with that base, and he is by the door. So that means that he is striking there. So he is going to go ahead and try and murderize this guy. Actually, does he even need the 1? Well, yeah. I mean, he just make it easier to hit. So why not? We're going to spend that 1. So that means he's going to go to a 6. He's already a 7. So he's going to go to 8. And he has, when he goes into offensive, he's at +3. If he kills somebody, he has an ability to attack again. Brutus strength means that he's going to be able to push the enemy 2 squares back when he hits. All right. So he's going to basically do the same thing that his buddy did. He's going to go ahead and choose the heroic strike. And if he rolls a crit, he's going to do 3 damage, which is close to killing him, but not quite. Here we go. You got it. 3 damage going into that Seneschal, and already he is just plastered. He's got 1 wound left. All my wound counters are gone. All right. So now that means he pushes him back 2 because of the Brutus charge. If he was against a wall, then he would have taken an additional damage. So if he was on this side, he could have killed him outright. But luckily he is not in front of a wall, so he's okay. So he just gets pushed back, and actually that is gonna end this round. So what a carnage fest in the middle of this board right here. Only 2 Griffin left. Scorpion are looking really good, and it doesn't look very good for the Griffin at the moment. So at the end of that phase, they drew a 2 for their card since they lost another compadre. And now let's just go ahead and roll initiative, and let's see who's going to take the first round here. And it's going to be Griffin taking the first turn. Now they get to choose what I'm pretty sure they're going to want to take it, because they don't want the Dirts to go first. Here we go. Everything is ready to go. Going with the Griffin. We all know what's going to go first. Seneschal, before he gets ripped apart. He's actually at I think he's at a -3 because of it goes down by every wound. So he is indeed -3 to his roll. So he's only going to be a 1. So he is going to go ahead and go into a, oh man, it's pretty grim. Let's go ahead and just we'll just do a blast. We'll see if we can shoot. So, oh my gosh, what does he have? He has +2 in combat. You know what? He's got the combined attack. So let's go ahead and go into an offensive stance. That's what we'll do. We'll go into an offensive stance. He is going to go ahead and move into combat. 1, 2 is probably the dumbest idea, but hey, why not? He's all about dumb ideas. He's going to go ahead and spend this last 2 points. What is the ability? When you play this effect, swap all your remaining action cards. The Dirts don't have any action cards. All right, so we're going to play the 2. He's going to be at +2. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to do his combined attack. So that means he's going to get 3 additional attacks. But the 2, I think, only applies to the first attack. So that means he is a 6 because of his offensive combat. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to try to do the same thing. He's going to do a heroic strike. And if he succeeds, he does 2 wounds. If it's a perfect success, he inflicts 3 wounds. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. So right now he is a 1 plus 2 because of the card. So he's a 3 and then plus 2 because of his stance. So that means that he is a 5. So he needs a 5 or less to hit that apparition. Here we go. It was a 3. It was a 2, 3. He missed. He needed a 5. He missed it by 1. All right. So he gets an additional attack. He has one. He has another attack because he can get up to 3 because of the combined strike. So now he's not getting any bonuses. All he's getting is he's gonna have to hit on 3s or less because the 2 and then the 1 that he's at. So he missed with his first one. Second one, he missed again, and then his last one, he missed. Completely missed. He is pretty much out of breath right here, man. So that Senesho is done. So now it's going to go into the actually it's going to go to the apparition, I believe. Yep, it sure is. So the apparition is going to strike, and the apparition is just going to go ahead and he's going to go into offensive. I mean, why not? And then he will do his 2 strikes. So he is going to, rather than doing the 2 wounds, he is going to go ahead and do the 3rd one. If the attack causes a wound, he may make a 2nd attack, but he doesn't get any bonus modifiers. So he's needing a 5 or less because he is not wounded. 5 or less, gets a critical. So it's 2 damage. So now the Griffin player is going to go ahead and play this, the Consecrated Armor. This card is to be played at the beginning of the activation phase. Select a befriended Griffin fighter who then benefits from the armor. The wearer ignores the first wound that would reduce the natural value to 0. The attack has no effect, even if it should have caused several wounds. Then discard the Consecrated Armor. So that's going to at least leave him with 1 wound before he's eaten up by that by that apparent. And that is it. So here we go. The Purifier is going to go, and he's pretty jacked up too. So he is a 1 as well. So he's just going to do. He's going to go ahead and do his attack as well. He's a 4. No, is a 3. So he's going to go ahead and do his skilled strike. So if he does a wound, he can strike again. You know what? Actually, he's going to do the novice strike. He ignores one of his SL, so he's going to actually be a 2. So he's a 2, but then he's a +2 because he is. I think these guys are good in. Are they good in shooting, or is it a hand-to-hand? No, they're good at shooting. So that means he's a 1. So he's going to be a 3. He needs a 3 or less to hit. At least to try and do some sort of a strike. Nope, he missed. And he is done. So now it's just going to go to it's all dirts. So let's see. I think it's the unwounded one that went. Yeah, it is. So it's actually him. And we're all out of action cards here. So it's just going to be his strike. And he has that armor, but he doesn't want to use it because he wants to try and kill this guy outright. So he's going into the offensive stance. So he's at a +2. So that makes it a 5. And he's just going to go ahead and do the... What is he? He's a 4. So being a 4 and offensive, he can go... He's going to do that +2 SL. So that means he's going to need 7s or less. So 3, 4, 5 because of the stance, and then +2 because of the combat mode he chose. And he got him with a 2. He's just going to strike that guy down. He is gone. So there's only 1 guy left. And he is the wounded 1. So he is at a -2 because he is damaged. So he only moves 5. So he's just going to... He's going to do 1 to turn completely. 2, 3, 4, 5, and he can't get there. He's just gonna have to wait there, and that's pretty much it. So the Griffin are gonna draw their 1 card for the downed compadre. They got 3, and let's just roll to see initiative, see who's gonna take it home. So it's gonna be the Griffin going last, because the Scorpion just won their first initiative roll. So I'm not gonna bother even putting these down. We're gonna activate him first, and he's just gonna strike home on this Seneschal, and he's just gonna do. He's gonna go ahead and just do his +2 to his SNL, so he's gonna need a 7 or less to take him down. For the game, could he kill him? And down goes the Seneschal. He takes his last wound, and he goes down. And there you have it, guys. This big beast just ate the Seneschal for breakfast. That's all it took, really, was just to get him into combat. He's very tough. You really got to shoot him down and just put some wounds on him, just to kind of either slow him down and actually make him a lot harder for him to hit anything. But man, he's got 5 wounds. It's not an easy task, but hey, you get those ones, those criticals. This guy taking out this 1 Griffin did not see that coming. He did 3 damage in 1 round. So this game is pretty brutal when it comes to doing damage, and that critical strike is, man, that's just evil, man. But it's all in the die rolls, man. It's all in the die rolls. It looked like it was going the Griffin's way. They were blasting people apart left and right. They took down that 1 Scorpion very early in the game. And when I saw that, I thought, well, maybe the Griffin do stand a chance, because I think they were down to like 3 guys left. And nah, this thing's a murder machine. This thing just came in and he wiped everything out. Well, he wiped out the boss, and he's not a real easy guy to take down. But this was a lot of fun, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the hybrid game. Again, this game is out of production, but you still can find it out there. You just got to look around, and it is a lot of fun to play. The minis are just amazing. They're really cool. This guy's just a beast. He looks amazing. I don't know, I love the confrontation minis. I'm hoping down the road maybe I can get a confrontation learning video out to you guys, so you guys can check out that game as well. We are going to continue playing some more hybrid, kind of celebrate this whole October month, spooky month, and what better way than to play with these Scorpion guys that look creepy as heck. And I do have some more minis. I don't have that many painted, unfortunately. I only have these guys. I'll see what I can dig up, because there is a ton of characters you can use in this game, and these are all from I think it was called Cry Havoc, that you could get these cards. You can get these characters, and you needed these cards in order to play the game, though, because this gives you the stats and everything that you needed. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could probably just download them and print them out. But really fun game. Again, there is a little bit of a learning curve. But the tactic in this game is just so much different than any game that I've played, especially like a dungeon game compared to Dungeon Saga. This seems a little more simpler. This game just feels a lot more tactical and a lot more behind it than just running up and slaying monsters. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Give me a like and a subscribe down below if you did enjoy it. That'll pretty much tell me that you guys are interested in seeing more of this content. And I appreciate all the love, guys. I really appreciate everything you're doing for the channel, giving us this ability to keep making content for you guys. We do apologize for last week not being out here. We're hoping to keep pumping more stuff out, as well as adding more to the Patreon. In case you haven't checked out the Patreon, I will have the link in the description below, so you guys can check that out. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. You guys have a safe and happy month. It is Spooktober. Keep rolling dice, my friends, and always paint your walls crimson. Take care.